Hello again, Raj. We're in the third part. How
We
are
are in the
you?
third part. I'm good. It's quite surprising, right? I didn't expect our conversation to go on for this long,
Yeah, it
but
became
I think
difficult.
there's really a lot to talk about, right? About screen time.
There's no any end for especially topics like this. It required, debating, conversation. And imagine if people, because we're going to ask parents to give us their questions. I
Right.
guess there are lots of questions. Some parents disagree, some parent agrees. So I think it's gonna be a lot more. This is not going. This is going to be 300 episodes. This
Awesome.
screen time.
Awesome. But that's good because we really want to see what the parents think and what our
Right.
audience think. The whole reason we have this show in the first place is to help the parents. So speaking about helping parents, right, Uncle Code, I really want to pick your brain on this. Can we get our two beautiful ladies to join us again, Ash and V?
Of course, yes. Hello again, hello everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
We're back.
You are back. Raj, let's
Yes.
just a kind of quick review. In the first part, we talk about definition of a screen. What is a screen? What means a screen time? I said a screen is a modern paper and some sort of assumptions that I have, because with those assumptions is not correct to listen to the rest of my opinions. And the second part, what we discussed about why there is a concern and the root of the concern. And as you mentioned, this part we want to go for some actionable and some suggestions to be applied. Am I right?
Exactly. So my question is, Uncle Code, what are some suggestions or advice that you can give to parents to help them help their kids develop a healthier relationship with screens? Or maybe let me just rephrase it slightly. How can we help parents themselves develop a healthier relationship with screens?
So I think we are in the part that we give some suggestion, right?
Yes.
I wanted to say- I just remember when I told you no. I just remember. That was a very epic moment.
It is epic. I think we should make that like a highlight reel, just like cut that 15 seconds and then we should post it up online.
A popular meme. A GIF animation.
Yeah.
No. Am I correct? No. So, okay. I like to. I think yesterday I was reading something. I mean, it's remind me something interesting about Socrates. Socrates is a great philosopher, a person that somehow start philosophy. That means that we invite us to learn, to think, to learn how to think, to ponder. And they ask him. There's a question that his students and friends ask him. Okay, would you sum up this philosophy and all this kind of thought that you have for us? And he just said something very simple: know yourself. This is Socrates, okay? And he's very important. Whatever he says matters. It still matters and will matters in the future. He's the one that raised Plato, and then after Plato, Aristotle. He's a very important person, and he says know yourself. And I want to follow that style. And I say my most important and the first important things for parent is know yourself in digital world, in digital era. And if I want to translate it a little bit, parents embrace digital transformation in yourself before your kid. This is the most important things. Let this come to you. Don't not afraid of it. Come to me, talk to me, like that lyrics that baby sing. Come to me and talk to me. Let this digital transformation happen in you. If you accept, if you understand this, then the rest of the thing will be resolved. I have seen many parents in Kiriko, and the nice thing that I could see is their reaction when Kiriko approached them to join to Kiriko and let your children to spend more on a screen, but for good things. And those they joined, those they didn't, I listened to their arguments. And I know this from my heart that the problem is here. This you should embrace. You should let force come to you. And that's a very important thing. And we should be very humble, because parents, they should accept that kids are better than them in this part. Because typically as an adult, I'm better than my kid and everything, so I'm the one to tell you what to do. No, in digital era, I'm not talking about life experience. I'm not talking about the life experience. That's a different things. I'm talking about a digital device, tools that are faster than you. For them is a part of their body. The way they tap, the way they play, the way they work with all this kind of stuff. So do not compare them with your ability. If your ability doesn't let you to focus on your phone and listen to your people, don't think your kid should be like that. Don't downgrade. Let future happen. That's what always I say to parents. Let future happen. So this is my very first suggestion. I think what else I'm going to say after this, they're all examples, but this is the first. Transform.
It's actually really nice, Uncle. And in fact, I actually feel so guilty because I don't have a kid yet, but I know I'm going to be really, really controlling. I am that person. I know myself. I am going to be that person. So what can you say about those, advice maybe for parent controlling or, cyber control? Maybe we can call it cyber control. Maybe you can give me a future advice.
You know what? I have seen your management style. So I know. You know what? We all of us, we have characteristics, right? Sometimes people, they say, I do have some strengths, I do have some weaknesses. I say this, but I think this is a wrong term. Honestly, I don't believe in strengths and weaknesses. I say these are characteristics, come with product. So if I have something, if you're going to be used in a good context, you call it a strengths. If you assign me a task that using something that I don't have it, then you call me, it's your weakness. For example, if let's say I put you in a position to give a public speech and you can't, it's wrong. I tell you, this is your weakness. You have to work on it. Or if you're good in talking, this is your strength. No, this means you didn't understand the person properly. And I do this mistake also myself many times with my team members and whatever. So the point is, how can I adjust? For example, if you're a controlling freak, maybe there are positions and jobs that require that feature. If you are so sensitive in details and accuracy, so you have to be on quality control position. If you are more creative and slobby, you have to be in a different positions, creativity position. So if you understand there's no weakness, strengths, they're all characteristics, and if you align or not, things will be a little bit different. But why I'm talking about this, let's back to this controlling. I said it's very, very difficult to be child of a controlling parent. It's a pain. And I experienced part of it myself. And many other people in the world, I guess. I think it's a common things we had it. It's a kind of a wrong controlling coming, unfortunately, out of love. That's why you can attack it. It has emotion. It's the part that make your parent, make us parent maybe. But I have something. I think parenting never was and is about controlling. Parenting is about emotional connection. Is about emotional engagement and negotiation. I think a powerful parent is the parent that can convince kids to do different things emotionally. If you're fighting and making rules, you have to do that. That means somewhere you screw up. And being able to emotionally convince a person required high EQ, required skills. Again, skills that the schools do not teach to parents. That's a big problem. I'm telling you guys, it's not easy things. It needs knowledge, it needs a little bit of wisdom, it needs you read, you research about it. How can I convince? You know what they say? Entrepreneur, a real entrepreneur is a person could convince a group of people to fight for his or her dream. So that's the definition of entrepreneur. Forget about what he or she is going to create. I could convince people to join me for my dream. That's what makes me an entrepreneur. Otherwise, I'm just a business owner. Mm-hmm. A dreampreneur. I sold my dream to a group of people. As a parent, bring it to the parent. A successful parent, a powerful parent is a parent can convince children to do this. Why this is good? Why this is nice? And doing it through a communication context. And at the end of the day, there's no any fighting because you reach to a conclusion together. Especially today that your children can talk more than my time because they can search, they can add more to the conversation. That's nice. They can be right also. productive conversation. Not I'm going to prove I'm right. No, it's just I want to find out. I want to figure out. Hey, my child, sit down here. It's my concern. Your attitude with your friend, the way you talk with them, I feel is not nice. Convince me why I'm worried. Let's talk together. Let's go through the internet. Let's search together. Let's figure out. So this is about. You see that it's all about the parenting. So don't attack to that poor screen or device, and don't hide yourself behind these tools and technology. So rather than controlling, focus on self-awareness, because self-awareness is connected to self-regulation. It's connected to metacognitive abilities. From the early ages, let your children feel they exist. It's a very important thing, and there are practices to do that. I don't want to go through details. I want to just give the keywords. Okay, so for example, there are two common approaches in education and growing people. Behavioralism, which you are familiar, I'm familiar. When you do something bad, there is a punishment. You do something good, there is a kind of positive thing. So this is something worked for old-fashioned day. But now we have constructivism. Constructivism is the solution. Constructivism means you simulate or emulate a situation that the students and children, they find the answers by building something and gain it by themselves, and they feel ownership about it. So if I can build such a kind of environment, or I can give you an example. For example, let's say I want to make sure that my child use toothbrush every night. I had this fighting with my parent. I punished. I got a punishment, that kind of old-fashioned way, because I was stubborn to not use this. And now I have the damage. I'm as an adult, my teeth could be stronger than this, so I can admit it. But the point is this: imagine if we can make a kind of different environment. For example, let's say if we can sit down with our kids, especially today, thanks to this technology, if we embrace digital transformation in ourselves, we know how to use it. If we sit down, go through the internet and search and figure out, and watching YouTube channels, some TED Talks, why toothbrush is important, and communicate with the kid and simulate in the way that the kid reaches to the point that he or she has fear of the future if I don't use toothbrush. That day, tomorrow night, your kid come to you, Dad, Mom, you're using it in the wrong way. Use it like this. Look at how I figured out in the internet. They say this kind of toothpaste is better than the other kind of way. Buy this one. You already done your job. This is self-regulated child. This is constructivism. The problem is parenting. We do the parenting in the way we grown up in the school. How was the school? Or boof, or give us praising. So it was like that. It never was constructive. They never give us a place to talk, to express ourselves. So we don't have self-awareness. Even as an adult, we don't know we really exist because we didn't grow up like that. So that's my point, to channel that need of your control, Ash, into the negotiation and love. That means rather than controlling what to do, when to sleep, control their awareness, control their self-regulation. That's a nice way. If some parents, they feel they need control, okay, do the control, but rather than the surface, control the deep part. So that means you ask your child, explain to me, research about it. You have to be able to talk about it, and then I will do this for you. This is another way of controlling. You have to synchronize your child with your kid. This is what I can say about if you and your future, Ash.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Don't change it. Use it in a nice way.
So Uncle Ko, you talk about constructivism, right?
Yes.
That part is I totally agree with that. So let's just dig into the content itself then, rather than the tool. So I think we all agree that now I think it's we can forget about the screen time. It is no longer about the screen time. It is more about the content itself. So do you think it's good that parents have access to content control as part of the constructivism, like to train the kids, and also limiting their kids' screen time until it reach some point and where the kids are more self-regulated and proper age where we can give more freedom to them?
Great. I'm very fan of time management. I think time management teaches us many things, especially for kids. I give an example, okay, to make this a little bit clear. Yes, parents, if they want, they can. I want parent engaged. You understand? But controlling without engagement is funny. It's just lazy job. You want to just tick and don't take the responsibility. If you don't have time, you have to ask yourself why I gave a birth, or what did it from the beginning. But the point is, if parenting now with these technologies can be fun, that's what I'm trying to say. Use technology as a chance to transform yourself and your kid. It's a nice thing. It's a beautiful thing. That means you can do this in your life. Let me give an example about time management, because I believe in time management a lot. Why not, rather than fighting with kids, do this? Engage them in their own planning. It's easier, actually. You tell to your child, for example, I tell to my child, okay, you know what? I want to give you, okay, you can have, I'm your parent, so I'm in charge of you. So we know this. Imagine you have a lot of good conversation together. So I have to set some constraints, but I give you freedom within those constraints, define your own plan. Like, I tell you that every day you can have access, for example, to a screen 9 hours, let's say 10 hours. And these are contents categories that I want you to engage with them. For example, entertainments, for example, educations, for example, sport, a bit politics. I want you to read a bit history. I want you to do this fun and game and this and that. I want to make sure that you play virtual reality game as well. It's very important for me. I don't want you to be a zombie, because future is like that. So I create constraint. I say, okay, now you have to define the rules. I give you 5 days, search, and come home and tell me what hours is good among all of them. She will back to me, and I see, 60% of your time you put for example, game. I don't think this is good. I don't look at it as a kind of fair distribution. Sorry, my kid. Go and think about it. So do you see what is happening? He or she is building the timeline, the plan. And then when we reach to agreement together, he is happy, she is happy, I'm happy. And I can give also a bonus that every week, if you match your timeline, you're going to get, for example, this kind of bonus, whatever bonus that you're giving your family, to your children. So you are building self-regulated child. You're not fighting anymore. And you put him, most of the time, parents, they fight because there is something kid can do it, but they put them in that position and nobody knows what is happening. So if I do that, the problem go to my kid's side. He or she has to now think about it. And this is very similar the way that we're going to work in companies, because your manager give you constraints and tell you, okay, go and design. So uniformity with now and the future. And there are apps for parents that they can install in their children's phone, parental control. Those parents that are sensitive, they want to make sure. So they can see exactly how many hours child switched between this app and that app, so they can control it if they have that kind of control. But at some certain level, when you see the trust, you're never going to do that. Let me say, oh, I know you. Tomorrow, I'm not going to check it. Okay, sometimes. This is beautiful. If you reach to that moment, congratulations. If you reach to that moment already, you are a very happy parent. So this is time, element of time management.
That's really nice. I really like this concept of focusing a lot in the content rather than the device or the tool. But since we are in that topic of the content, following these questions, how can we manage the content, especially for parents? How can this be managed?
Okay, so you mean that how to do the curation of the content, huh? Picking up the content and manage. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I give a few examples. You know what? As I said, one of the requirements of digital transformation for adult is we should be able to feed our brain. How much you can feed your brain intellectually? That's a very important question. If you are a parent, how many hours yourself in a day spend on understanding, reading, increasing your knowledge? What are good YouTube channels you are using, parents? Is it just only how to cook your food? Or do you spend any time in a week to know about philosophy, history, science, technology? Or no, come on, these things are not important. So so you have to first bring the change, the one that I said. You have to use this chance, if you haven't done it before, to educate yourself. So when I do that, then I know what are sources for gaining information. So that's the kind of things that we should teach in a school to kids, and unfortunately we do not. So one of my always, I want to say that how we can enjoy intellectually. Do we have this habit, enjoy intellectually? If an intellectual concept and context give us stimulation, that's a very important thing. We have to build it. And my one of always example is TED videos. So if you are an adult and you don't know what is the TED, I really suggest you definitely start soon. I'm not talking about a teddy bear. I'm talking about a TED, beautiful entertainment and technology, and this is a great community, many speakers, leaders on different topics, different topics. They come and share their thoughts in beautiful way. Even has TEDx, a kid version that kids come and talk, and like that video that we show to many parents, Thomas Suarez. So it's really interesting. If you just every night before going to the bed, ask your children to come and sit down together, watch one TED, and pick up a topic that kid interested. For example, if your kid interested in a sport or a game or something, you can find a psychologist talk about how to utilize game in favor of our mind. So then you watch together, both learn and both can negotiate. Remember that gap? There is a huge gap between these two generations, and it's getting more. And no need to be at the same time. For example, you can ask your child, today morning, you watch that one, evening, I will watch at the work, night, we come and talk together. So this is a great techniques to bring good contents and yourself and your kid. And that's a nice thing because today kid can understand. You really can sit down with 10 years old and talk about black hole and philosophy and history and politics. It's a great time. I mean, like a great joy, intellectual joy between you and your kid. And I think this way, you build a family bonding, you build content curation, you build intellectual joys. So that's just the best way to do that.
And if you really don't want to watch that, you can always watch UncleTalk as well.
I agree to that. Yeah.
Why not? Yes, exactly. That's one of our purpose, to make sure that we can create a content that they do. That is a nice point that you mentioned, Raj. I agree with that. And finally, I think research is very good. As I explained, remember you guys, I told you guys that if your child wants something, ask him to search and then present. It's a great way to stimulate your child mind. For example, if your child come to you and say, I want to buy me an iPhone. So you use that opportunity. Okay, if you want to buy, use that opportunity. Okay, I'm going to buy, but first, go and search about history of the smartphone. Tell me about what's happened. Why Nokia fell down and then iPhone suddenly come up. What's happened? So your child has to go through the internet, search, read, make a slide in Google a slide, and who knows, maybe at the end of the search, she back to you says, okay, I don't want the phone, I want Raspberry Pi and a computer is to code. So you use this opportunity. Again, if you let digital transformation happen to you, you have these guns, you have these skills, you will be different mommy daddy. A mommy daddy which is nice, lovely, which is good, which is fun, better than Instagram and TikTok. Otherwise, you can't compete with them.
Yeah. So Uncle Kut, while you were talking about that kind of, I really like the idea of watching TED. I was also thinking, what are the physical activities that actually I can or parents can do with their kids, to engage together other than using this technology. I was thinking recently as I was buying these puzzles as well, because now is the MCO. I was thinking what things that we can do outside of the screen itself. I mean, just to have a proper physical activities together. Do you have any other suggestions maybe so I can add on my list as well?
It's free consultation. First 10 minutes of advice is free.
But again, I'm not saying screen is bad. I'm just thinking of other physical activities to do together at home, for these 14 days of MCO.
I think I'm just going to give a quick answers because the time became long. This second part first of all, I think one of the things that I suggest to people is, first of all, remember that because we adults, we grown up in the way that we have lots of good memories from the physical world activities. We remember that when our grandpa, grandma, or mommy or daddy our hand brought us out to the park and ice cream and da. So this is very, very kind of memorable. We remember, we feel it. But that doesn't make sense anymore for Generation Z, because Generation Z, these two worlds are connected. So if I'm a parent, it makes sense that I like to approach and promote physical world because I feel more power. I don't know what to do in a digital world in the way that I can do in a physical world. But again, as I said, you do this. But for the physical world, one of the things, for example, you can do that is tech-free meal plan. I like this one. That means every day, set a time, maybe breakfast, maybe afternoon, I don't know, tea or whatever. It doesn't matter how long. Call it tech-free. So all the families sit down without phone, without anything, just talk a little bit and build this habit. Habits come slowly, little. And then when you sit down, talk about the activities they did in the computers before, because they like to talk about it. Oh, you play a game. I saw you play a game today. Tell me about the game. What is this game? But this 10 minutes, 15 minutes family talk without technology is a nice thing to do. So this can be maybe a kind of advice, a kind of simple and achievable. And also it's very important is your family naturally how much is active to going outside and doing physical activities before COVID or before technology or anything else. Because if you are introvert or indoor family, so things will be a bit different. Another thing is those family, they have pet. So it's really good because kid can bring pet outside or they can walk with the pet and then back. So that's like another way of doing some sort of activities, but not like bringing out with your kid and you play with the phone and the kid also play with the pen. So you again remember, if you want to make a change, you have to be a model for them. So this is maybe some quick advices that I can just add to your list.
Very nice.
So, Uncle Code, we have talked about a lot of things. We started from screen time, and now we're talking about developing better relationships, both for adults, especially from the adults, right? What is some final words that you would like to share with all our listeners today before we wrap up the episode?
Okay. I want to just share this. I'm worried about something very important above all these things. Not my concern, okay? As another parent concern, my concern. When you look at the human story, from the very, very beginning, as I see, remember I talked about the ghosting theory, it's very important to understand something really critical and crucial in human culture was communication. Need for communication created a language in different form and build the cultures and boundary in family and a lot of things, good and bad actually, all coming from this. That means we could reach to a point to express our feelings, angers, happiness, sadness, love. This was very, very important. At family level, for many years, for thousands of years, it was critical for a parent to show the love to kid. And also it was critical for kid to get attention, looking for attention of the love. These two things important. Children, they are looking for attention. It's natural. It's designed for adult to give them attention. It's very important. Grandpa, grandma, all this community created to share this meaning of the love within together. And what makes me worry is now children, Generation Z, for them that digital and physical world is the same thing. They want the attention, but they want in form of digital. They want digital form of love. They want digital connection. And parents, they want to give the love, but they don't know how to give digital love. You know what is happening? We are raising a generation that kids not getting enough love. What I mean by digital love, that's my example. I want to see my mommy for my birthday send a funny video in the TikTok about me and dance for me and stickers and kind of those kind of Generation Z styles and send it to me. And I smash to all of my friends. This is my mom. That's they want it. How many times you have done such a thing? How many times you have done something funny on Instagram for your kid? How many times you did something in the way that they play in the games? If you haven't done any of this stuff, so this means you are not connecting, you're not communicating. You are losing that taste of beautiful taste of parenting. Whatever left is your control, your anger, your fight, and sleep, and your home, and the money that you pay to your kid. But your kid, that human nature never changes. We need love, we need to give love, but we have to understand that now we should come up with many approaches, nice approaches, using these devices. Then this device is not your enemy. Is that love letter you send to your children. You give to your children, your students. So build a YouTube channel with your children. Talk about the love things that you do, you have it. And many more things. And at the end of the day, again, do not forget. Please embrace digital transformation in yourself. Or as Socrates said, know yourself, but in the digital world. And I remember that in the Star Wars, that Obi-Wan Kenobi told Luke when he was flying and trying to put a tornado into that Death Star, says, Luke, use the Force. So, parent, use the Force.
and you know, Ash, I think you better download TikTok now and get prepared a few years in advance. You know? Yeah, but you know, speaking about the Force, parents, if you want to be strong in the Force, if you want to be adept in the ways of the Jedi, because we're talking about good things here, right? If you want to be adept in the ways of the Jedi, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support really helps us on the Uncle Talk team to really build the show and keep on creating great content that will help you parents and your kids as well. So your support means the world. Make sure to share and drop us comments. What would you like to see? What did you find interesting in this episode? And what you would like us to discuss next? Thanks, Ash and V, for joining us on the Uncle Talk show today.
Thank
Everybody.
you.
No
You,
problem.
dear parents, I hope you have a happy digitalization in yourself and wife and children. And let us help. Share with us your difficulties, any question, anything. We work on it. We create content for that.
Awesome. Until the next episode, then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.